Have you ever been so impacted by something that it leaves no doubt as to what helped shape you? Welcome to the Blind Impact podcast, where we talk about and uncover those moments. Some funny, some sad, and some scary, but it's not always tragic. I hope you'll stay for a while. Hi, Jesse. Are you on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Okay. I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for asking. Hey guys, this is the Blind Impact, and today's guest is going to be Jesse. I'm Francis Nelson. Thank you for joining me. So Jesse, so can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Maybe talk about who you are, things you might have accomplished in life, and anything you may want to share aside from your story.
Oh man, I'm 28 years old. I mean, not even 28. I just hit 30. Dang, I feel young, but I'm old. No, but yeah, yeah. I like to play basketball, gaming, stuff like that. Hang out with the family. And I actually, well, like the more I think about it, and my fiance reminds me a lot that at my age I accomplished a lot, but in my eyes, I feel like I didn't.
Okay.
But
Okay.
now that I see it more often, like now that I start overthinking, I'm be like, you know what? I did a lot of things like on my own without
Sure.
like asking for help and whatnot.
Yeah,
So
at a
that's one of
very
my
young age.
accomplishments. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. And so it took your fiance for you to realize that?
yeah, because I feel like I see all these other like young people, like like I don't know why I'm comparing it to like the NFL, like how Dak and Zeke started at 20 something. I'm like, man,
Okay.
I'm at that time I was like 28. I was like, man, what am I doing with my life? I always tell her like, what am I doing with my life? And then she was like, don't even think like that, like look at where you at now, you know,
Right.
and it's better to
Yeah.
work, how you worked before. I'm like, you know what? You're right. I bought myself a house. Well, I'm still, paying for it, but like I got a house. I'm like, why am I putting myself down like this? Just comparing myself to other people, which I shouldn't be doing.
No, never, never,
Never.
never, ever should you do that. So maybe you can give us a little bit of insight today as to why you're a little bit harder on yourself. Maybe you can there's some things you could share about your own childhood, and I know you have a story today that you want to tell about. So what was your blind impact? And I definitely can't wait to hear your story, Jesse.
Man, it was back in 1995. No, I'm just playing. No, it was being the oldest, you had a lot of like weight on you, knowing, So I grew up like not having so much money,
Okay.
and my father was really like, whatchamacallit, like stingy with his money, but yet whenever he will go get paid, he'll leave all weekend, blow all his money, and come back with nothing. And come back with nothing. And bills are not paid. We got them, they had to pay the rent. So for me, being at such a young age, I see like the way we lived. We had roaches, furniture broken down, nobody cleaned up. My dad was like, he was there, but not interacting. So he
Okay.
was always just come home straight from work and go straight to the room and just lay down and be on his phone. I have no memory of like playing catch and just him interacting with all of us. But
Okay.
yeah, but not having anything, I always saw myself like the only odd one out, where I see all the kids, like in book fairs and stuff like that, having money to buy an eraser, cool eraser, bookmarks. And I always felt down and like left out. So,
Okay.
what brought me to like thinking the way that I do now is I refuse to fail. Like seeing that and poor money management coming from like my family, or apparently not even understanding how money works. made me do a lot of research and how to money manage my, my own stuff.
Okay.
And I refuse to like go back to that lifestyle, go back to like not having nothing. Like I don't want my kids growing up how I did, growing up with nothing, not being able to buy as simple as an eraser type thing.
Sure. Yeah. So you feel like you having dealt with that as a child made you kind of set a path for yourself, and you knew that that's not the way you wanted to live or to have your kids live. Now that you have the opportunity to be able to make your own money, do you feel like the lessons that you learned from your dad has helped you to, or help you to learn to want to be the opposite of who he is?
Oh yes, of course. Learn what not to do. I learned by other people's fathers. Like how to do like fix little things here and there, and this and that. Like this is something like you and your dad should be doing, type of thing.
Hmm.
But yes, I learned. I'm a big observer. Like since I was young, I like to like sit down and just look around and just pay attention to details. And
Okay.
that's what I like to do. I like to pay attention to details. All right, sit down. I like start thinking to myself, create a plan. Like one of my biggest fears is to fail, and I cannot have that in my in my life right now.
So I know you keep bringing up the word fail, right? And you feel like you might have failed at some point in your life early on. Now you have the house, and your fiance is helping to convince you that you haven't failed. But what was it? Was it either parent? Was it a joint effort of your two parents that you saw failure in? Like, what is it about that particular word that you seem to want to apply to your life? Like, which parent, if you choose to answer, made you, like, gave you an example of failure?
Oh, I would say my father.
Okay.
Yeah, it just yeah, I choose my. I'll have to say that it's my father because of he didn't take on the didn't take care of
Okay.
responsibilities. And growing up in that environment, I feel like I'm gonna pick up those bad habits. When you're stuck
Sure.
in a habit for so long, or doing something a certain way, like there's some points where you can't break out of it,
Sure.
or people are stuck in their ways, saying like, "No, I'm stuck like this." I was raised like this, so I don't know nothing else. And I feel
Okay.
like that's gonna catch up to me or pop up in my head.
Well, I have to say, just listening to you and you just knowing what you don't want to do, I can definitely say that that may be something that's just lingering, but I don't see that that's something that you'll have to deal with in the future, because you already know that that's not who you want to be, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So right. So in learning that and seeing the examples of who you didn't want to be, I think that's definitely going to help you along the way. And I feel like you're on a really good trajectory. Already owning a home, and you've got a fiance, and I know you mentioned children earlier. So do you care to talk about either one of them without giving names, right? But you can maybe talk about how having the kids has made you feel, or maybe it's kind of propelled you to.
Yeah. It started off when we had my first son before he passed during like after birth.
Hmm.
Made me realize like you walk in there ready to walk out with the child and you walk out the hospital empty handed. So that kind of just like brought my faith into God more.
Sure.
And so putting all my faith in him, I can feel like my life being different. Like I witnessed a lot of things happening, and out of nowhere, like something comes towards me and the problem is solved. Let's say I'm lacking some money here, and out of nowhere, I look at my check and I'm like, yo, how did all this money get here? Me not expecting nothing. And it
Okay.
happens, all right. So yeah, so having my first son just made me realize like I need to change. Like the first, this house was for him, because we were gonna move out. I was living with a roommate. So this
Okay.
pretty much has like sentimental values because it was supposed to be for him. And me and my fiance were talking, and we were like, is it too fast to like try again after we just
Okay.
lost them a couple months ago, ago.
Hmm.
And we were like just thinking to ourselves, is it bad that we're already trying to have another one after we just lost them? And a lot of people were like, no, not that we were listening, but we were actually, life keeps going, but he will always still be in our hearts. So that's when we
Yes.
ended up finding out that we were going to have my first daughter. And it was a blessing. Like it's a blessing, always smiling. But now she's just a little troublemaker. She don't want to go to sleep, tossing and turning. I always have to sleep in with mommy and daddy, like right in the middle. And then she's over here slapping me in the middle of the night. Now you can already imagine them already like standing on top of the headboard and then 1 feet on top of your face, and you're dead asleep snoring, and they're over there just jumping on your head. Yeah, man, I love
See
her. I
with that.
love her, man.
Yeah, right, exactly. And out of tragedies, you do have there are triumphs, and this sounds like this was a triumph for you and your fiance, and you were able to, not feel as much sadness with your new daughter, but like you say, it's still going to be there because that was your child. But I do enjoy hearing that type of story about, you and your your daughters bond and just allowing her just
Yeah,
to trample over you and just know that that's going to
yeah.
happen.
But also, like, we're messing up too because we're giving her so much love. And like she was the
Mm,
only child for like almost 18, 14 months or so.
okay.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 15 months or so. She was like the only child getting all of our love, that we all had built up from our first son. And
Right.
now that my other son was born, and we're trying to feed him, we're trying to give him a little attention, play with him. My daughter is over here crying at the other end because she wants the attention. She wants you to pick her up. She wants you to like play with her, just do that and pretty much not give attention to him because she was
Right.
so used to accustomed that she's always the only one getting all the love. But she's
Yeah. So now she's
slowly
got scared.
starting to, yeah, she's slowly starting to, get used to him. She'll give him little kisses here and there. Yes, it's cute whenever they like. And there's a reason, we plan on like having them back to back, but not
Okay.
this kind of soon. But we got them back to back just so they can grow up together and whatnot.
Sure.
Yes, but
Yeah.
my son, yeah, he's a cute little baby. He's always,
Oh,
I mean, I'm surprised he's always up and about, moving since birth. Like I can
so
already like,
soon.
yeah, he can like hold himself up for some reason, which is I'm not used to it. And he's over there trying to like stumble, wobble already. I'm like, oh man, we're gonna be a quick learner over here.
So you already have one that's mobile. You don't need the other one right
The
away.
other one, not right now. No, we're gonna have to like block the doors with some cages.
Definitely, definitely. So we heard you share about your first son, and now you have your daughter, and now you have your new son. So what about their lives currently, and then your lives when you were a child? Like, what do you can you share anything about, like, any similarities that you may see coming about, and like in the developmental areas for them, the things that you are trying to steer clear of for them? Like, do you feel like you were just showering more attention on the two of them because of what you dealt with in the past?
We're trying our best. Like, no parent is perfect, but we're trying our best
No.
to. Most of the time, my fiance is the one that takes like all the heavy burdens because I'm stuck at
Okay.
work, and she's there with
Sure.
them all day, every day until I get home. That's where I relieve her a little bit. She can like walk out the room and do her
Oh,
thing.
that's sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah, but we try our best to like become the better parents. Become a good parent, making sure that they're not left hungry because they're always fed
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. And I don't really like them crying, so I try my best to like just grab them. My son, all you gotta do is just pick him up and he'll just stop crying. But my
Sure. What
daughter,
what baby
yeah.
does it?
But my daughter, most of the time she cries because she's hungry or she's right now she's in a teething phase, so
Oh
it'll be one
yeah.
or the other.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, we try our best and making sure that they're well taken care of before we are.
Absolutely. Sounds like you're very involved, very hands-on
Oh
hands-on
yes,
dad.
yes,
Oh
yes. I will.
wow.
I'd love to be. I would like to. And sooner or
That's
later, I'm gonna
awesome.
start. I'm gonna start their own little bank accounts. That way, I can
Mhm.
start
Yep.
putting money in there
Yep.
and let it build
Absolutely.
interest.
Absolutely. So
Something they'll
do
teach
you
you.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was like something they don't teach you in school.
They do. They don't. You're absolutely right, and that's something that's left completely up to the parents. And it sounds like you've got you know what you want for them in the future, which is really awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Do you think you want to have more kids?
Uh, right. I mean, maybe in a year or two, but we
Okay.
probably can go for maybe one more. And four is the max, but I, three should be good. But if anything happens and we have a fourth one, then that's fine too. But after that fourth one, we're done.
Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, four. That's a entire army in 2023. That's
I mean,
awesome.
20,
People.
yeah, that is true. But growing up in a
Yeah.
household full of six kids, uh, those
Wow.
numbers, I don't think that's nothing.
Six kids. What can you tell us about that?
Oh
Like
man,
pique your interest.
living situations that it is crazy. You know how many like there ain't no like good cheap houses that has like six bedrooms and whatnot. So
Wow.
living in a household with three bedrooms, you know, maybe two people share a room and whatnot, and then some of us will sleep on the couch.
Okay.
Me, I never had my own bedroom at all until I had my own apartment, which I was like
Okay.
25.
Okay.
So I was like 24, 25 when I had my own apartment. That's when I actually got to feel like I had my own room. I can put whatever I want in it and whatnot. Even though I didn't have anything, because what do I put? Never had my
Right.
own room. Don't have my own things. Like I never had much. But yeah, the my siblings like we're. I would like to get closer, like how we were back then. But you know, everybody grows apart. Everybody has their own life.
This is true. This is absolutely true. Did you
Yeah,
find that you guys were really close with the six of you in
in
the
the
three
same
bedroom house?
household.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, we all just like
Wow.
walk to school together, whatnot. Come home, we all play, hang out, talk, do pranks on each other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Especially if
so the
it's
house was
majority
a mess.
boys.
Oh
Oh.
yeah, four boys, two girls, so
Oh
not really much.
no. Yeah, I'm sure your mom had the blues because that's a lot.
Uh,
Four, that's a lot of boys.
Imagine how many spankings we were all got in with the
Oh.
chancla, with the rhinestones, all
Not the
embedded in the middle of
chancla.
the forehead. Bah! And keep in mind, she threw that from a distance. You over here running away, she'll be throwing that chancla like a sniper shot and just boom.
She
Once you
said
get
she
hit,
was
you
not.
knock down.
Oh man, she said she was not gonna miss.
Nah, shit, I'm not chasing after you. I'm not gonna miss. She kicks, you know, she's wearing the chancla, right? You know the little thing where you kick the ball up. That's what she did with her
Uh-huh.
chancla. She kicked it up, grabbed it, and it just slung that thing. And then she hits you. You start crying. She like, bring back my chancla. I'm like, damn. You know, I'm here crying, just bringing it back her shoe. Oh man, yeah. Like I'm not gonna say my childhood was bad. No, I had a good childhood. It was fun and games, but it just living situation was sucks. But when you're outside playing with friends, like most of my time I lived in an apartment complex,
Okay.
so I had like friends hanging out and whatnot.
Yeah.
So just to keep your mind off of things.
Yeah. That's important. It sounds like your mom helped you to keep your mind off of things too with by throwing that throwing
That
that
chancla, right?
the
Give you something to
chocolate.
cry about.
She was like, "Do not come to me with those tears because you should have done what
Yeah.
you did." Okay.
Unless whenever my dad's at work and you do something bad, she's gonna be like, let's say you go to the store and you end up acting up. She's like, just wait till we get home.
Uh oh.
And whenever somebody says, vas a ver cuando llegamos a la casa, you know, when
Uh
things are
oh.
about to get serious,
Uh
you
oh.
know, my ass goes, you get home, my ass just runs upstairs. And like, I just wait a little bit and then I pretend like I'm asleep. Out of nowhere, I just feel the blankets moving with the belt. All I hear is, bah! That's when
Ooh.
you like start squinching and you act like a stick. You're like, ah, you squeeze your butt cheeks because they hurt. I'm like, ah. And then you try to cover it. They're like, move your hand. Move. My dad, man, my dad would beat
Mhm.
us.
Mhm.
Like nowadays, people will call it child abuse, but
But it
sometimes,
wasn't.
no, it wasn't. Sometimes kids
Okay.
nowadays need this beating. They need
Yep.
some kind
They
of
do.
beating.
They
Yeah,
do.
but yeah,
They
man.
do.
I mean, I would say we were bad when we were younger because you probably get all frustrated. It's a house full of guys. What do you expect?
Yeah. That's a lot. And then like
Yeah.
that. What were your age ranges between the boys?
I was the oldest, so I'm 30. My other one after me is 2 years younger, and then
Okay.
one year younger under that. 2 years, one and a
Okay.
half. So two, 1.5, and then my sister's 6 years,
Ooh.
8 years, and then my little brother is 17, so almost like over 10 years. Yeah, so there's
Okay.
some space in between.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, so varieties. But the youngest one, he didn't like. Whenever we tell him stories, he doesn't know because he didn't grow up during that time.
Right.
Yeah,
I
so
bet that's kind of hard for him to hear all the fun y'all had, and he's like, "Well, I wasn't there," and then you get to talk about all the misery you caused your mom,
yeah, all the creativities,
all the
like creativity that
creativity.
you would do outside, like sit down on a skateboard, you tie
Yes.
a string to the bike, and somebody pulls
Yep.
the bike, and you just. But nowadays, he's just like in his room playing his video games, man. Like where's the
Right.
the outdoor stuff?
Yeah.
But
Most of them
nobody's out
are.
there. Yeah,
Wow. That's what like you had sounds like your childhood was really fun. You know what I'm really curious about though is like out having six kids. Like what your mom must have been in that kitchen for hours cooking. And that's a large family to feed. I could not imagine.
man, not really. Sometimes she'll be like, we didn't have much. I don't know
Mhm.
for like on Thursdays, my dad will buy pizza,
Okay.
and then Friday he'll be gone after work. Just hang out with his friends, and he's the type to show
Okay.
off. But there are times where we get free groceries from from church, and my
Okay.
mom will go and she'll go grab a batch, that whatever they give, and we will like most of the things she'll make like soups,
Okay.
beat rice and beans. But yeah, she will have to like lay them out. She would like prepare the plate, right, and she'll lay them down in a row, and she'll be like, "Yo," but in Spanish, she'll be like, "Food is ready." You go grab a plate, and some of us we were really picky, man. I couldn't eat beans, like homemade beans, unless it was straight from the can, and I had to see the can if I was gonna eat it. I was like that
Oh.
picky, and she was like, "Excuse my French," be like, you'd be like, I don't want to eat, but in Spanish, she was like, "O si no vas a comer, come mierda." So pretty much, she was like, "If you're not gonna eat crap or eat shit." Excuse my language, but can we cuss on this? she like eat. She like eat shit. I was like, oh damn, you're over here just stuck eating that because she's not gonna make anything else. But nowadays, you got these parents talking about, oh, you want something? Oh, I want Chick-fil-A. They're gonna go and make that Chick-fil-A. My mom
Yep.
stuck her foot down and be like, eat this or don't eat nothing at all. Your choice. So
Absolutely.
yeah, you're stuck.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're stuck eating that stuff, man. And most of the times you eating the same thing again. You be eating soups, like them hot soups, chicken soups or whatever. They're in the
Uh-huh.
hottest summers, and that's how like every Mexican
Oh.
families are. Like they make something like hot soup, like chicken soup, in the hottest days when you're not even supposed to be eating that thing. You're already sweating. And it's like it's not even from the soup; it's from outside. But we're eating something hot. It's burnt
You're like, Mom, why are we eating soup again? Don't you know it's
again,
108 outside?
right? She's like, "That's all we got. All right, eat it."
Well, I mean, which is
Yeah,
awesome. So I mean, she clearly
yeah.
she
She
made you.
make sure we were fed and this and that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my mom has my utmost respect because she did
Yeah.
she did what she could, and here we are
Absolutely.
today.
Yeah. It sounds like she's somebody who made an impact, in your life from very early on, which is awesome. You know, that's
Yeah,
that's a that's a story in itself right there. That many
yeah,
kids and just knowing how to go out there and just take care of business however you needed to, right?
yeah.
To make sure that your family was taken care of.
Oh, for sure, man. And whenever I was
Yeah.
driving back from work, I was like, also, I was just thinking about that stuff too earlier. I was
Hmm.
like, man, how did I even end up here? Starting from my childhood to where I'm at now, and it's
Right.
crazy. It's crazy. Like almost like getting evicted, and
Hmm.
I was moving apartments, constantly moving, going to like different schools. I'm surprised we didn't end up in the streets, but we could what we could, we can do.
Absolutely. That's yeah. I mean, that I'm sure that had to be just going through those particular events, in your life. I mean, that's something that's impactful enough, and it definitely kind of helps you again to know where you don't want to be once you have the opportunity to make your own choices. You know,
Yes.
and that's awesome. And I love this story, and I can imagine your mom is probably pretty proud of you. Based on what you've accomplished so far, even though you feel like it's not a whole lot, which is not the case.
Nah, but it's something, it's something to get the started, get my foot through the door. But
It
actually,
is.
my mom is like living with me too, so kind of like
Mm-hmm.
here because she's going through her problems, and they
Right.
recently lost the house that she was staying at because my sibling couldn't pay rent for my mom to go back.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
what can I do? Between I have to take my mom in, because she took care of me. Now it's my turn.
Absolutely. It's always full circle, right? It's
Yeah. But, there are times
always.
where like, oh man, I want my house to myself. I want some peace and quiet.
Mm-hmm.
But she's only here till she goes through her treatments,
Sure.
and once she gets that green light, I'm pretty sure she's gonna get back on her feet and eventually like get her own place.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Wow. But I mean, that has to be nice to have her there, though. Also, right? Because
oh
she can.
yes, a lot of
Yeah.
perks. Meals already cooked,
Yeah.
how clothes already washed.
Wow. See, that's awesome. And she can help take care of the babies, at least
Babies
visit.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the perks.
Wow.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge perk. That's a huge perk. Wow, that's so awesome. Jesse, what do you think about that everything that you've said at this point? How do you feel like it's changed you individually? Like
It
made you better, made you worse?
it made me way better. Made me way better. I
Okay.
learned from experience, and gave me and it made me kind hearted for some reason. It humbled me.
Mm, mm,
So going through all that made me humble. You see people out there like homeless, and I have no business to be complaining. Type
mm-hmm.
of thing, situation. There's people here that don't even eat, and there's families out there that only eat at schools, and when they come home, they don't eat at all because they don't have anything. So it humbled me, and gave me to be, made me the person who I am, kind hearted, you know, like to hear both sides of the story, and not just start judging real quick.
Sure. Yes, that's important too. And I think the fact that you were made aware that have you've learned about humility, right? I think that's something that's so beautiful because I know earlier at the top of the show you reference about feeling, closer to God and really it drew you closer to him. And I think that that's something that humility is something I believe that God helps to show us too, right? Because
Yeah,
he wasn't right, so there is that humility, and I think that that's something that we could all stand to apply in our own lives, right? Humility
yeah,
is huge, and I think it's a beautiful trait or a beautiful characteristic because it does help to open up your eyes to other people's situations in life, and it does make you more compassionate. It makes you want to serve the community, reach out and be some sort of a help, not just another blot on society, right? And so it
yeah.
sounds like, yeah, and it sounds like you were able to learn a lot of lessons at such a very young age, and you've applied it, and you are aware that God is there and very real, and definitely present in your life. It sounds like, which is
Oh
awesome.
yes, for sure. And I try to teach that to my little brothers and sister here that are living with me. Like I talk to them about God and be humble. Don't hold hate in your heart for nobody, man, because
Mm-hmm.
you never know what they're going through in life, and that's probably why that person is acting a certain way. They get on your
Which
nerves,
is
but
true.
it's true, right? There's something that's going on at the house that he's acting, trying to get attention from somewhere else that he's not getting at the house. So I try to like teach them, pass down my knowledge, like ideas of what to do, what not to do, what to get, what not to get, needs and wants. Like
Mm-hmm.
nobody taught me this kind of stuff growing up. I had to learn. I'm pretty much self-taught, and by doing my own research. So my younger siblings have a better advantage than I did. To
Sure.
me, I'll feel happy and proud when they like. I always told my sister, and she said always told me to this day, like you said something that stuck to me, and I will never forget it. And I was like, "What's that?" She's like, me being the oldest, you always said you guys have all the resources better than what I had growing up. And I will
Mm.
your goal in life is to become better than me. Because you
Wow.
guys have the better because I could pass down the knowledge to you, use that knowledge, surpass me, and what you learn from where I'm at right now, you learn more. So you're already gonna surpass me at that point, and so on and so forth. So I'm trying to teach my brothers and sisters what I know now so they can use that and not go through every single hard
Hardship.
step in life. Hardship, that's the word I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, to
Mm-hmm.
go through and just skip all that or easily stroll through that struggle and then be like, oh, my
Right.
brother was saying something about this. Let me do this. And boom, they're already out. They're going there faster than what I did because I had to fight through every war. They can just
Yeah.
easily just like glide through the little leftover path that is left,
Sure.
and that's
Well,
what I
that's
want for them
well. I
to
feel
be
like
better
you
than
you
me.
you're doing it already. I mean, because now you have them in your home, which is absolutely that's to be applauded, right? And
Yeah,
then more than that, like you've stepped up, and not only are you their brother, but you've taken on a father role too. And that, I mean, that's commendable because you could have just as easily just left them wherever they were, and you wouldn't have had to assume that responsibility, but you did it with your own, even having your own children, which I think is amazing. Yeah, that's
now that you put it that way, and you're like, you're right, you're right.
I mean, it is. That's exactly what you've done, and I hope that they are able to take what you've taught them, take the opportunity that you've given them, the place of shelter, right? Probably safety and just family bonding all over again. Even though everybody is a little bit older, but it'll still be a memory for them, and it's going to continue to serve as a reminder for them of what they can have too once they reach your age. It doesn't have to be a bad situation, or that they don't have to be living on the streets, because now they've seen it in you, and you've made that happen, for yourself, which is again commendable, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
absolutely awesome. So
yes.
going back to you not not accomplishing anything, you just
Now,
listen off.
listen to all the things and I even caught on to it.
Yeah,
But
but that just goes back to having that humility, right? It's something that seems to be second nature to you, and you're not thinking about, oh, let me be the dad, or let me take this on because somebody else is doing it. It just seems like you kind of fell into that place, which is awesome.
yeah, and I still trying my best to like keep trying to better myself as well.
Right, and that's all we can do. That's all we can do. And you are so young still, and you have a huge opportunity in front of you to be able to do that. And I can't imagine that you're gonna stop climbing at this point, right? So you just continue going and continue being an example for your family, which is really amazing as a man. You even caring enough to do that, truly. So you keep it going. But what do you feel like after you talked about how you grew up changed you? Do Have you seen positive or negative effects throughout your whole family, like your entire immediate family, based on
Um,
what happened growing up?
not everybody. I mean, the younger ones are still young, but
Sure.
like the ones are already over 25. I don't want to like talk down,
Mhm.
but one of my brothers, like the one
And
under
you
me,
don't have to get into
I
that if you don't want to.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't mind. I'm not gonna say names, but um,
Okay.
I'm sure. I don't know what he does, to be honest, because nobody ever tells me anything. But I'm just gonna
Okay.
assume. I'm just going based on what I know. Like he doesn't work, and his girlfriend works.
Okay.
But I don't know the story. 'Cause from what I hear, is that she don't want him to work because if he does, he might find some other girl,
Mm.
whatnot. But I don't know the story behind it, so I'm not just gonna
You don't want to
judge him
speculate.
by that. Yeah, speculate. And my other brother, so there goes the path right there. You have a choice. Either you can make more money and y'all both can, have two sources of income. You know, that saying where if you're raised poor or broke, it's not your fault. But if you grow up living poor, then it is your fault because you have
Ooh.
a choice of, if you want to live how you
Changing.
did or change.
Yes.
So far, I feel like they got I feel like they in the same situation how I kind of live, a little better, but I, to me, in my eyes, I feel like it's the same situation. They can get out of it if they want to, but but it's all by choice. You can't help people that
Mm.
don't want to be helped.
You're absolutely right.
And
Absolutely right.
my brother, after that, he's in jail right now,
Okay.
but he was living with me before like they lost the house. He
Okay.
was living with me, but since they were living at that house, he dropped out of school. He had a good decent job because I was giving him rights like every day for a whole month, and I helped him. And I told him I gave him a deal. I'm like, hey, you save up half, I give you the other half to get a car out. And he kept his end, but like maybe a month later, he got into it with one of my cousins,
Okay.
and he ended up ditching. Like not, he was driving to work, so he kind of just reversed and came back, and from there he pretty much just I guess just never went back to work. So he stopped making his car payments. But good thing I didn't co-sign or anything. It's all under his name.
Mm.
But yeah, so he lost that. So he stayed at the house. But he has never left the house in over 10 years, from what I know, from what I remember. It's
He's
like ever
not
since I
left.
left. No, like he's always at the house. He never left the house. He always had like his
Mm.
friends just bring him
Wow.
food or whatnot. So
Really?
he's and accustomed to drugs. Like he was stuck on
Okay.
drugs. Him and his friend buddies would be outside of my mom's house just smoking, and that's where my two little siblings were living there. So that's why I took him out of that household and took him here with me to get them away from that situation. Oh,
Oh.
so that's the reason why they're living with me. Because I can't have them be like, what if he hangs out with the wrong type of crowd and they end up shooting the house? I
Yep.
can't. I can't afford to have that somebody
No.
get
Yeah.
hurt over your stupidity.
Right.
So when they lost it, me as kind hearted as I was, I told them, hey man, you can live here with me, but I don't want you smoking or in the house or whatever, or don't have no drugs in here or whatnot.
Right. Right.
And those are simple rules. Keep my house clean, clean up after keep clean up after yourself. No smoking, no friends over. And I say that because I know how his friends are, because they're all
Mm-hmm.
like I want delinquents. I would say
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I don't want like I said I don't want to judge, but that's what I see.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
but still like and I for by me doing that I'm like hoping he'll like change his ways. But like I said, he how people are so accustomed to their habits, so he will like whenever I'm out of town at my fiance's family,
Mm-hmm.
I can see on the cameras. I got cameras around my house. I could see him outside smoking. He has his friends over. They're drinking. I'm like, don't make my house like how you had the other house. And they got beer cans all over. When I come back, I'm like, man, are you serious? So I talked to him about it. I gave him like 4 chances. I saw him selling
Oh
dope outside
no.
my house. I go, man, I'm not having this in my household, man. You gotta go. So he left, and whenever I was out of town, he came back, just trying to grab a few things, and he ended up robbing from me. I had a lawnmower in the back. That thing was gone. I had power tools. That was gone. And I was like, those are hard earned money that I worked for this kind of stuff, man. Like,
Right.
I'm barely surviving out here, and you're over here stealing from me because I work hard for this.
Mm-hmm.
That way, I don't have to pay nobody. And that kind of it didn't. And and I told him, and he stole other things as well. But those are materialistic things. The fact that he felt like, and that he had his dog back here too. So I told him, man, if you want your dog, you got to bring back my stuff.
Right.
And he knows, and he blocked the back hole. There's in the backyard. There's a hole in the fence somewhere, and he blocked it. So one time he will always come at night, hop over the fence, and he has some stuff in the backyard. He'll grab his stuff and leave. And he took his dog, and I looked back at it, and one day I came home from work, and I tried to feed the dog, calling out the dog's name. The dog's nowhere to be found, and I looked back in that corner. The gate, the hole was visible. So I was like, "Oh hell no!" He took the dog.
Oh man.
So there goes everything that I worked hard for. He took, and I didn't have hate for him,
Mm-hmm.
but in his eyes, like whenever I go visit him in jail, he told me like I felt like you hated me because I did all this. I'm like, man, I don't hate you, man. I'm just very disappointed that you out of all people, you stole from me.
Yep. After giving him
No,
the opportunity
at
to.
the 4 times the opportunity to stay here, and this is how you're gonna repay me.
Yep.
But I know he was like under the influence, drugged up. But like I said, it's your choice. And so he's locked up now, and I visit him. It's Friday, so today's the day where I'll go visit him. And now
Okay.
that he's sober, like the first time I visited him and he saw me, he started like tearing up and crying, and he
Oh.
just started apologizing, like, "Hey man, I'm sorry, bro. Like I don't know what I was doing. I wasn't thinking, man. Because with him, he has like an anger problem.
Okay.
So if he gets mad, he's mad, and he just start doing his thing. But yeah, so he's like, "I'm sorry, man. I robbed from you." He admitted it to like stealing all kind of stuff, which it broke my heart, man. Because I can forgive you, man, but I just cannot have you coming back
No, because then it's like at that point, it's like you now you he's putting your family in
in
danger,
danger.
right? And with having
Yeah,
friends over, and then you're not there, and yeah, that's just a bad situation all the way around. But it sounds like he's because he is incarcerated that things are turning around for him, and I hope that once he gets out, he can remember that you were the one visiting him. Once again, you're there for him, and I hope that he'll be able to be in your corner too, and not just take from you, but also be able
yeah,
to give back. That'd be nice to
yeah,
to know about.
yeah. He always told me, man, when I get out, man, I'm gonna do everything right. I'm gonna take down that tree in the backyard. I'm gonna buy everything that I stole from you. I'm gonna buy it back, or
Wow.
newer. But
Wow.
all this other stuff, like he only been there a short time, and he already hates it being in there. But like we all tell him, man, you put yourself in this situation, so
Yes.
you dug your hole. Now you lie inside of it.
Yep. Absolutely. There's nothing else
So
to do at this
yeah,
point.
at this point,
Yeah.
you're bored in there. So I hope that kind of just hits you in the head and be like, yo, man, I don't want to come back in here. I need to do better. But he says he started
Wow.
reading the Bible, man. He's like learning.
Ooh.
He's reading, so that's kind of a good thing to hear because he also had like suicidal thoughts, and
Okay.
he also he told me like he called my mom. He calls my mom and it's like, hey, tell Jesse to come on Friday. I got something to tell him to send a message to the whole family. And I was telling my fiance about it. I'm like, what do you? By me telling you that, what's the first thing that pops in your head? Let me ask you
Mm,
that question, Miss Francis. What's the first thing that pops in
okay.
your head that whenever him saying, "Hey," when they tell Jesse that don't not to miss Friday because I got a message for him to pass on to the whole family.
Now I would probably be inclined to believe that he's looking to take his life. I feel like that
Ding,
that would be my first thought.
ding, 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 ding. You
Yeah.
are correct. He wrote a whole
Wow.
like page, 2 pages, front and back letter, because he can't mail it
Mm.
out because they read everything. But yeah, so I
Wow.
was reading it, and Like, why would you even think, like, bro, why would you even think like that, man? You haven't even been here that long. And he was giving himself till he's on his birthday, which is December. And he was
Oh
incarcerated
no.
around September.
Okay.
But during that time, my mom wasn't visiting him because her ID expired and she had to wait for the
Okay.
ID.
Okay.
So I guess at one point he was feeling depressed because he was missing my mom as well. He's a big mama's boy. He's missing my
Oh,
mom, and all he wants is to see her face. Like she don't even have to talk. All he wants to do is see her, man, because he knows my mom's in, in health, like in chemo and
right.
stuff like that.
Mhm.
And he knows he just wants to see her in case like something happens. But he started writing that. He showed me the letter, and I was reading it. And I was like, deep down, I was feeling sad, but I didn't try to show any emotion. I'm like, man, what? Don't do that. But during that time, before I can even ask him questions, time was already up. A visitation was already over.
Oh.
So I was talking to my girl. I'm like, I don't know why he's doing this. Like, you only been like you're weak minded, but out here in the streets, you're over here acting hard, talking all this crap. But yeah,
See.
you're in here. You have it made, bro. You got a roof over your head. You're not homeless anymore. You eat,
Yeah.
and plus you're getting money from us or from my mom or whoever for
Okay.
free. Like, what more can you ask for? You can handle a couple months, a years maybe. But
Wow.
with like, it's all like, man, right there, bro. Like, I always tell him, man, your mind is your biggest enemy. You gotta like beat your mentality. If you're thinking negative, you gotta make it into a positive because it's
You do.
you're fighting your own mind in there. 'Cause you're just stuck in a 8x8 cell or 20. I don't know how big, but he says they had like eight guys in there, 8 bunks.
Oh no.
Yeah, so
Oh no.
you're just stuck in there. But
I
like,
mean, yeah, that's
but whenever, and
miserable.
I was telling my fiance, I'm like, yo, maybe he just misses my mom. But
Mhm.
that day, we just fixed her ID, so she had her copy now.
Okay.
But my mom told me not to tell him anything. But I was reading that letter, knowing that she got her ID already ready to go. She was gonna meet him on Sunday. That's the next visitation.
Okay.
And I was telling my girl, like, man, I don't know why he's doing this. Like, why put me in this situation? Why does he want to tell me? Like, how come he just tell my mom over the phone? But
Well, I mean, maybe because he didn't want to worry her, and then he probably felt like you could handle it a lot better than what your mom could, considering she is the mom and she's dealing with what she's dealing with, and so he just says, "Well, I'm just going to tell him because he probably knows that you were going to tell somebody else."
well, he wanted me to pass on the message regardless. So
Yeah.
eventually, yeah. But now I was talking to my fiance. I'm like, and I was talking to her about it and what I read, and like to tell Martha and like everybody else, tell everybody like I love him, even though we never talked. Like to my brother, him and my brother never talked over 10 years over some dumb stuff. But
Wow.
and that's what I miss about it, like being united as a whole family. But nah, if one person is here, the other one won't show up. Type of situation here.
O-
But
Okay.
now my fiance was like, maybe he just needs to see your mom. So then as Sunday came, and I think he had a change of heart. And my mom told him, hey, if you kill yourself, if you decide to do that kind of stuff, I'll stop my treatment and I just let the cancer
Mm.
take over. And my brother's like, nah, mom, don't do that. Don't do that. You got a lot to live. And she goes, I live my
Wow.
life. It's you who has a lot to live. And you're over here talking
Wow.
this shit.
Wow.
So, yeah. So all this is going on. I feel like there's a lot of burden on me because everybody just relies on me.
Mhm. Yep. Sounds like it.
And I can only do so much. I'm over here. I'd rather be with my family, but everybody's always like relying from just asking me for stuff or ask Jesse this or
Well, I mean, it seems like because it seems like you have a level head, for one, and you seem to be more rational about it, and you can kind of give like an unbiased response.
yeah. I can't say no, man, because I want to see my family succeed. So of course I want to
Right.
do what I can. Don't say I'm gonna go 100%. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
just hand out what everything. You got to put in the work. I'll give you the tools. Now you just got to build it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it seems like you've done a good portion of that, you know. And I hope that your brother, I hope that he's able to remain, you know, having a sane mind and a little bit stronger mentality, so that way he can be released, and you know he can join your mom again and they can be happy. But you know that's a it seems I think when people consider doing things like that, it's just like who are they considering? Is it just them? Is it an entire family? Like what is the thought process behind wanting to end
I
your
feel,
life?
yeah, I feel like to him, he feels like he doesn't have that love.
Okay.
Because all this started like him acting up because he was doing real good. Like he was a hard worker back then. But it all
Okay.
started off, and I guess my dad left out of nowhere. He
Yeah, it's
just
another
left to
impact.
Cali. So I guess that had a big impact on him because him and my dad were like cool at one point.
So
And
he felt abandoned, maybe.
he felt abandoned, yeah, like, and he cried about it one time before, like, man, I don't know why dad left us, fuck that guy, and this and that.
Yeah.
But you could tell, like, he has love for my dad, but it just, like, why did he do that? Did he not love us or what? But my dad calls from time to time, and he loves us. He tells us he loves us, but my dad's the type of person where we ask him what's his address and whatnot, but he doesn't want to give it to us. He would rather just send money and like leave me alone type of situation. Like, oh, what do you need? Oh, you want some money? Oh, here, boom, boom. He
Wow.
sends it and just like don't bother me type of situation. That's I see it now. Now that I'm older, I see it. Like here's $5. Your kid. Here's $5. Leave me alone.
So do you feel like seeing that as a kid and then knowing that now, do you feel like he may regretted having the kids, the six kids?
Not no, I doubt it. I doubt it. It's just probably like some problem that he's going through. I
Sure.
guess because financially
Yeah.
he couldn't handle it and he just left. No,
Yeah.
I guess he just was waiting till we were all older that he wouldn't have to deal with it, or probably not even have to pay a lot of child support. Who knew how?
Right.
And like, nobody knows the real story behind his mentality.
Okay. Do you think
Yeah,
at some
but
point you'll ever choose to maybe talk with him one on one about that? Like
he
his
always tells
decision?
he always tells my mom, whenever he comes and visit, that he wants to talk to all of us.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure about that kind of stuff situation. But a lot of people, like my brothers, like my siblings, they're like, maybe like one of them has really questionable.
Okay.
Be like, she'll ask some questions like, "Why did you do what you did?" But he can never give up a straight answer. He always just try to dance around it. And
Mm,
my dad will always ask pictures of his grandson of my sister, but she wouldn't send it to him for that specific reason. Like, why do you care? You never
mhm.
loved us enough, and you left us. I mean, you're not gonna see him in person anyways. You're never here, or you're not here at all. And
Wow.
and she got mad because it all started when my sister graduated high school. He was never there because he felt him and my sister and my dad would they got into it, and there's a little hate thing going on right there. So once
Okay.
my dad feels like we don't, he felt like just because we don't talk, the first thing that pops in the head all like, oh, maybe she don't want me around. But we're all kids. We say dumb things. Of course we want you around.
Sure.
But for him, he didn't show up to any of her graduations. My sister's graduating, my other sister graduated because he wasn't around at that time. But my first sister, he didn't show up, and that's what killed her. And that's what
Goodness.
gave her that. You know, at this point, he's not gonna know anything about me, not know my kids or anything like that.
So
And she
she's just
kept that
completely
promise.
closed off.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my
Wow.
dad always
That's
asked me like, "Hey, send me a picture." I'm like, "That's not my place to do. That's not my.
mhm.
I can't do that for you, man. You gotta ask." And he hates to asking. Like he don't ask personally. He always ask one of us or my mom. And my mom be like, "Are you stupid? Just call your kids. They're your kids. You ask if you want something. You ask them."
Yeah,
And
it's that simple.
yeah, but the
It's
thing is
so
that he hates rejection, and I can see that he don't like to be
wow.
rejected. So he has that childish mentality as well. Like there are times
That's
where you just have to. be a father and be like, you don't want me there, but I'm still gonna be there because you're my daughter.
Right. Yeah. You have to be the mature one.
Yeah,
Wow.
but yeah,
Wow.
all this, man, there's a lot more to it. Like it all started too downfall with my parents' relationship, where we found out I have a little brother in Mexico, almost a little
Oh.
bit older than my baby brother. So what's going on?
Oh. So what do they call it?
The
It's
bastard child?
Santa
Oh, Sancha.
Sancha.
Yeah, Sancha.
Oh.
Oh, dang. And he
Oh.
introduced her to his family in Mexico and introduced her as a girlfriend. But whenever my
Oh.
mom and my little brothers and sister went to Mexico, he didn't really introduce her as any. I mean, they knew who she was, but they didn't
Okay.
like show. They didn't. Nobody showed up to like greet them and be like, "Oh, hey, welcome," because I guess nobody wanted to spill the tea or have any problems because my dad brought the other chick over there.
Oh, how hard that must have
Oh
been.
man, you can feel the energy, man. My mom goes, "I ain't never going to Mexico because all I did was just stay in the room all day.
Oh.
Nobody came and visit, but everybody's all talking about, oh, you should come and visit Mexico. We should hang out. But whenever they went, nobody showed up. I'm like, where was everybody at? Everybody's a two
Oh,
face apparently.
no.
But
Oh,
that's why I don't go, man. I don't really talk to nobody over there besides like one person, one or two people.
goodness. That
Yeah,
that took some nerve.
that's the
I can't.
that seed that started everything was my dad cheating, and then from there the relationship never. It just started going downhill from that. Arguments, arguments, arguments. Boom, leaves, boom, left with like he. The crazy thing is that he left when the bills were due, rent was due, so my mom had
Mm,
nothing. Always
goodness,
having to ask me
goodness.
for money and this and that. So I was always there to take care of him, but I can only
Yeah,
do so much
and
because I got my own situation.
yeah, and your own family now. Well, that's a separate challenge, and this definitely seems like this is probably going to be another segment of this podcast. So I
Ooh,
can't wait to hear about it. But before we end here, is there anything about your initial experience as a child that you feel like that you wish could change, or you would consider changing yourself if you had the opportunity? Like
to be
what would
honest,
you have wanted to be different?
I wouldn't have changed nothing because if I changed something, I wouldn't have my family. I wouldn't know what I know now. So I would keep everything the same, live the same childhood because it wouldn't have made me as strong as I am now mentally.
Right, okay. I love that. I love that response. Love that response. Jesse, it has been a pleasure talking to you. Like I
The
said,
pleasure
you
is all
definitely.
mine.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys. Thank you so much again, Jesse. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. See you later.
Okay. You too. Okay, thank you. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of The Blind Impact. If you like the show, please rate, subscribe, review, follow us on Spotify, and if you have a story you'd like to tell, please email me at theblindimpact@gmail.com. Or if you have a story to tell and you'd like it read here by me, please include that in your email. Thank y'all, and remember, it's not always tragic. Show title credits go to Bailey DeStefano and myself, Francis Nelson. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the show.